tutorial is designed to show you how to use Majestic SEO in order to find potential link partners for a client that you're working on. I'm going to use an example site here. I'm going to walk through some of the steps that I take it through. Majestic SEO is a very powerful and broad tool. It has a lot of different stuff going on, so this is not necessarily the only way to use it or even the best way to use it. I'm just going to show you my way to use it. So let's start out first of all with the challenge, and the challenge is this website here. It's called Artisans of Colorado. I'm taking a look at it, and it ranks very well for terms like artists, Colorado, Colorado art, and so forth, but I'd like to branch out a little bit now. I've done some keyword research, and I find that one of the targets I want to focus on is a target called landscape paintings. My first step for landscape paintings is that I'm going to find out who is already strong for that term. So, of course, I'm going to be doing a Google search for landscape paintings. And we'll see what comes up. Of course, there's the ad at the top. And we see a number of different sites, some of whom are sites that are like mine, and others, like for example Wikipedia, are ones that don't necessarily bear a resemblance, so I'm not going to be focused too much on them. One of the things that I want to do though is pick out which of these competitors who's ranking well has the greatest depth of links that I can look at to see if I can establish link partnerships with some of those same quality link partners that some of the competitors have. So in order to do that, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a comparison of several of these competitors on Majestic SEO. I'm going to take and copy the domain for fineartamerica.com and then globalwholesaleart.com and then dailypainters.com. We're going to take 3 just to use the example. And I'm going to take those and go over to Majestic SEO, and I'm going to click on backlink history in order to do a comparison. Alright, so now I have taken and copied the 3 competitors that I'm going to be looking at into the comparison screen here. Ask me whether I want to use the fresh index or the historic index. In this case, I think I'd like to use the historic index, and here's the difference. The historic index is massive. It's they say it's over 1 trillion links. The fresh index is a few hundred million. The reason that they have 2 different indexes is that the historic index takes days to index when they have additions to it. So the fresh index is updated on a daily basis. And then every, I don't know exactly how often, every week or a few weeks, whatever it is with Majestic SEO, they'll take the fresh index and they'll roll it into the historic index, and they'll spend several days letting their massive processing power go through and update it. Now in this case, the reason I'm using the historic index is because it'll give me a better overall look at which of these sites has been more successful in acquiring links. And typically it's the more successful site that I want to emulate and that I want to use for my competitive intelligence. So I'm going to go ahead and click on compare. And after a moment it'll show me a graphical representation of the history of acquisition of links by these 3 different domains. And so you notice it says view mode monthly. And this is called the Backlinks Discovery View, and below it is the Referring Domains Discovery. Backlinks is typically far, far larger than domains. You can have 1,000 backlinks from a single domain, and you really don't get a whole lot of value from that. So usually I don't put a lot of store in the Backlinks Discovery. So all we need to do is find a site that has engaged in some shady link building, and they can be adding 10,000 backlinks in a day. It doesn't tell us anything about the health of creating a strong network of backlinks to their site. So I drop down to the referring domains, and this actually gives us a better representation of the strength of their link profile. So we can see here there's a clear winner. The clear winner is Fine Art America, which also happens to be the #1 result. And we can see Fine Art America has done a very good job of link building. There's one other way that we can verify this, and that is by changing the view. Up here right above the charts, we can change the view mode to something called cumulative. And cumulative basically shows, as it would indicate, shows the gradual accumulation of total links. The monthly shows basically a snapshot of, in a given month, how many links were acquired, but it doesn't tell us anything about, well, what happened though if some of those links were dropped, some of those sites became obsolete. It only shows us that they were acquired in a month, but it doesn't show us that they were retained. And what this does is this cumulative view shows us not just the links that were acquired, but shows us the profile of the website in terms of links that they retained. And once again, even more strongly, we can see that Fine Art America has done a much better job of continuing to strengthen its backlink network. I'd like to make one aside here, however, and that is you can see these other two domains, Daily Painters and globalwholesaleart.com. They both are far less effective in terms of mass of links. And yet, remember, they were 2 and 3 in the search results. What this tells us is we don't have to match the number of domains or links that Fine Art America has. And it's a good thing, too. This site has obviously been around for a while, and at 40,000 referring domains, if we had to catch up to that in terms of numbers to be competitive, we might as well give up right now. So we've decided now that Fine Art America is the competitor that we're going to be looking at most closely in order to determine how we might be able to build our backlink profile. Now I need to do a little bit of analysis on my chosen subject, fineartamerica.com. I used to go typically into the Majestic SEO Site Explorer. If we go to Site Explorer, we can put any sort of a domain in, and then we can check their backlink profile using the fresh index or the historic index. However, anymore I'm more inclined to go to the reports section and go directly to a report that I can download and analyze in Excel. So I go to the My Reports tab at the top left, and then under Report Options, I have a choice to create a report, and that's what I'm going to do. So let me go ahead and enter fineartamerica.com. And then it'll give me a choice of the type of report I want to create. In this case, I'm going to be using a URL level advanced report. And instead of using the historic index, I'm going to be using the fresh index. The reason I'm going to do that is because if you use a historic index, often you'll find a whole lot of link partners or potential link partners that where this particular website or any other acquired the link years ago. My experience is many of those websites are no longer updated. You can't contact them. It's basically a lot of wasted time. So we're going to stick with the fresh index. So now that I've selected the type of report I want and which index I want to create the report from, I'm going to click on the button and create the report. Now, doing this is a little bit of a laborious process because you have to go through a number of steps, but the result is typically worth it. It's told me now that the report has been created and added to my reports page. So I'm going to go to the reports page with this link, and it'll show me the various reports that I've run in the past. There's standard reports here, which are quick and easy, and then there's advanced reports up here, and you'll notice that one of those advanced reports is the one I just added called Fine Art America. Now the nice thing about these reports is once you've placed a report into your Reports tab, you can easily refresh the report by clicking on the little refresh arrows up here. And typically Majestic SEO will display the two little blue arrows, giving you an indication that the database that this report was based on has been updated. And so now you can create a fresh version of the database. Looking down here to Fine Art America, it'll give me a little bit of a preview of what's on that report. It'll tell me the status, the date it was last updated, the number of external backlinks, and the external referring domains. If you remember when we looked at the backlink history, there were far more backlinks and domains, and that's because we were using the historic index. Here we're using fresher data. And so now I'm going to click on this in order to go to the report, and it will give me an overview of some of the top anchors, top referring domains. It'll allow me to go to details on any of these aspects of the report by clicking on links. For myself, I'd rather not look at it online because it's just too hard for me to visualize what's going on in the data. So I'm just going to go directly to the download option, and the easiest thing to do is just click on download right over here at the top. And in order to place this onto the downloads page, I need to click this button here that says prepare download. And it'll give me a little confirmation here. Your download has been received and will now be executed. And so I'm going to click on the downloads page, and it'll show me the status of that. And in most cases, the type of sites that I deal with, it's thousands of links as opposed to tens of thousands or millions of links. So usually the file size is not too huge, and usually it's ready for download as soon as I come here. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on Backlinks for Fine Art America, and it will download to my desktop, and you can see the download status indicator in the lower left here of Chrome. I'm going to go ahead and open up my folders to show where that download has ended up, and also to show you one more step you need to go through, and that is when Majestic downloads one of these reports, it does it as a compressed file, and it does it as a GZ file, which is a GNU zip file. And that means that Windows typically won't decompress this file on its own. Usually Windows will do that with zip files. So you can get a utility called 7-zip, for example, which is a free utility, and you can use that to decompress the file. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Here's my download, 30th of July. I'm going to right click on that, and that's what 7-zip looks like on my context menu. It's 7-zip, and it's a real handy decompression utility. So I highlight 7-zip, and I go to choose extract here, and now I have an Excel spreadsheet in CSV format, and I can double click on it, and it'll open up, and it'll look something like this. There's the target URL. In this case, it's always registering Fine Art America. There's a target AC rank, and the AC rank is typically a measure of how valuable this link is in the eyes of Majestic SEO. The higher the number, the better. It's sort of like Google's PageRank. Now, I will say that the AC rank, let me expand this out so you can look at how it's spelled. The AC rank that Majestic SEO uses, they're in the process of phasing that out and replacing it with different metrics called citation flow and trust flow. Column C here is the source URL, and so this is where the link to the site is hosted. And if I went to this page, I should be able to find a link to Fine Art America. And then it will give me the source AC rank. Now I explained AC rank over here in column B. I failed to mention that this is the AC rank for the page on the site that we're analyzing. So in this case, it's not really telling us whether it's a quality link. This is the column D, where we want to go to find out whether this is really a quality link and would be useful to us. And you'll see it's all over the boards. We've got AC rank of 5, 3, 2, here's a 0, and so forth. Let's move over here a little bit and we'll expand this column and take a look at the next one, which is anchor text. Anchor text, of course, is very important to search engine optimization. You'll see that in most cases here the anchor text is nothing that's specifically weighted towards keyword phrases. In most cases, it's either the domain URL or Fine Art America. But as we go down here, I'll bet we'll find some different anchor text. For example, this one, MJ Art Studio, Fine Art Prints, and so forth. Often this will give us an indication that if we go to a particular domain, whether we're going to be able to succeed in having that link partner give us keyword-rich anchor text. And now let's move over here a little later, and these are really neat right here, and that is the source crawl date and the source first found date. So this crawl date, that's the most recent date where Majestic SEO has indexed this particular link and found it to still be good. And so you can see all of these links here were crawled very recently, so there's a good chance that these will be current links, they won't be dead links. Here it shows us when the link was first found by Majestic SEO. So that means these are links that have been acquired pretty recently. I think that's a very handy tool because often I've gone to potential link partners and found that the site hasn't been updated for 4 years. And usually if it's that stale, it's hard to get any useful links out of them yourself. If you look at these various columns here, they are all flags. And by flags, it just means a yes or a no. And there's only 2 that I pay much attention to, and that is the flag no follow and flag image link. Now in this case, Majestic SEO is going to show a plus sign if it's flagged yes. The flag no follow is basically going to show you whether the particular link on this particular row is a no follow link or not. And typically we want to, wherever possible, we want to get links that are not no follow, although in some cases there's nothing wrong with getting some no follow links. As a matter of fact, Google, if you have nothing but do follow links, Google's probably going to view it as an unnatural link profile. Then there's also the flag image link, and typically that means that what's pointing back to this site is an image as opposed to text. Now the image can still be optimized for search with the alt text, but it's typically going to be less valuable to us than a straight text link. Then we have a few other flags here, and as we move over you can see these other metrics that I'm talking about, which is citation flow and trust flow. And in this case, Majestic will give you a citation flow and a trust flow for both the source of the link and for the target of the link. And if we're looking for a link partner, we're more interested in the source than the target. Now let's move back to the main data columns here. And I'm going to show you how I'll typically try to find the potential link partners. To do that, I'll usually use something called filtering in Excel. So up here at the top in Excel, I've clicked on Data, and now I'm going to click on Filter. Filter will allow me to screen out rows in order that I can focus my attention on the potential link partners that have the most value to me. So one of the first things I can do is go over here to this source AC rank. And I'll drop that down and it'll show me all the values that currently exist within that column. And I can deselect ones that I don't want to look at. So let's say I only want to see rows that have an AC rank of 3 or better. I've deselected now 0, 1, and 2. Click on OK. And now I'm only looking at links that have an AC rank of 3 or better. I can do the same thing with anchor text, and sometimes this is a process of exploration because this will basically show me all of the unique anchor text that's within this column. So for example, if I see that the anchor text is Fine Art America, I could exclude those. On some of these, what I'm looking for is where it has merely a URL like this. Often when it's merely a URL, it's a link that comes from a directory where you can click to add your URL. I can always, if I run out of prospects, I can always add these back in, but for right now I'm going to take those URLs out of here and click OK. And now it's narrowed this down a little bit more. And the other thing that I can do is I can take out garbage, such as blank anchor text, and the blank anchor text is probably image links. So now I'm very much filtering my data down. So now I have a list of links that are high quality where I can begin my process of looking at the site, seeing if it's valid for my client, contacting the site owner, and trying to convince them to give me a link. It's true the hardest part lies ahead, but at least when you're doing the hard work of contacting websites and trying to talk them into giving you a link, at least you know through this process that you're contacting sites where the link, if you do get it, is going to be a valuable link. And I hope this has been helpful.